Hello everyone, welcome to the second edition of the Helios MMA Podcast. I'm your host Shomik, and the last time we did one of these was before UFC 264. I know it's been a while, so we had to bring back some consistency to this channel, and of course, I hope that we get to put out these episodes on a regular basis now. So as you can see, I have this Helios logo right behind me, and today we're going to be talking about UFC Vegas 34, which is this weekend. And the main event that we have in store is between Jared Cannonier and Kelvin Gastelum, an explosive middleweight fight. So we're going to be talking about that and the rest of the card. I'm going to do a little bit of breakdown of the fights that are in store. So yeah, let's get to it. So obviously Jared Cannonier is heading into this fight on the back of a loss to Robert Whittaker. For me, the talking point of this fight is going to be if Cannonier can get back into the title picture. The champion Israel Adesanya has mentioned his name a few times in the past. He has said that Cannonier is the dark horse of this division, and remarks like this from the champion should obviously be an extra motivation for a fighter to go out there and get the victory. But the big issue with Cannonier here, what I think, is his age. He's 37, and getting that title fight ahead of the likes of Darren Till or even Paulo Costa should be a little tough for him. But of course, a big win here this weekend over Kelvin Gastelum should set him on the right path. Every time I look at Jared Cannonier, all I can think of is sheer brutal power. I mean, this man used to be a heavyweight, then compete at light heavyweight. Of course, he has brutal power, which I think is pretty much what we as viewers usually look for every time Cannonier steps into the octagon. But then again, he's fighting Kelvin freaking Gastelum. But then again, you cannot take such a beating for 5 rounds, and I think we'll pretty much see that this weekend. I think Cannonier is going to show his strength and get the victory via TKO or via decision, and it could be similar to what we saw between Robert Whittaker and Kelvin Gastelum. Whittaker dominated him for 5 rounds, got the victory, called out Adesanya afterwards. For Cannonier, I think he could get the victory here and move on to a bigger fight. Next, possibly face the winner of Paulo Costa and Marvin Vettori. That's a fight I think would make sense after this fight, and the winner of that could eventually fight for the belt. So, as for Kelvin Gastelum, I think this is a do or die situation for him. He has one victory in his last 5 fights, and that one victory was against Ian Heinisch. So that speaks a lot for itself. But the good part about this fight is Kelvin finally has a full training camp. The last time he fought Robert Whittaker, he took that fight on short notice, and I saw an interview with ESPN where Kelvin mentioned that he strategized a lot in this training camp, and obviously the full training camp will help him. So we'll see if he can pull it off against Jared Cannonier, but my money is obviously on the Killer Gorilla. I feel he's going to win this weekend, and it's probably going to be a decision or maybe a TKO finish in the 3rd round. I'm not quite sure, but then again, I see Jared Cannonier winning this. And for Kelvin Gastelum, what I think is, if he doesn't win this fight, this probably could be the end of Gastelum's UFC run. Like, he has lost 4 times in his last 5 fights, and obviously that is not good given how UFC is cutting fighters from their roster. So yeah, we shall see in less than 24 hours what Kelvin Gastelum could do when he returns against Jared Cannonier in what promises to be an explosive main event. So as for my main card predictions for this one, I would go with Jared Cannonier winning the main event, Clay Guida winning the co-main event, and then we have this heavyweight fight between Parker Porter and Chase Sherman, which is a very tricky fight given Chase Sherman has lost a few of his fights. He lost to Andrei Arlovsky the last time. Parker Porter has 1 victory in his 2 UFC fights so far, so I'm not quite sure about this fight. But then again, I think Chase Sherman could get the win. And then we have this bantamweight fight, which I think Trevin Jones should win. And then there's this lightweight fight, which I feel Vince Pichel could win, and the flyweight opener between Alejandro Pantoja and Brandon Royval. The one fight that I'm really looking forward to. As I said, I think Pantoja could win that fight because he has a victory over Manel Kape in his last fight, so obviously that should do him a lot of favor, and he has also stepped into the octagon with some of the best fighters in the flyweight division. He has faced Davison Figueiredo, lost to him of course, but he did face him. He also had a fight with Askar Askarov last year, which he lost. But then again, I think he could take this victory here. As for Brandon Royval, he lost to the current champion Brandon Moreno at UFC 255, but then he has a victory over Kai Kara France from UFC 253. Should be an interesting fight, like I said, because these two guys have quite some experience in the flyweight division already, so we shall see how this plays out, but I think Pantoja takes the victory here. So yeah, that would be my main card predictions. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any predictions, just comment down below. And yeah, we shall see how UFC Vegas 34 plays out.